Right, it's connecting and we're there. 1 second for that. So, oops. All right, roll call. We start off on the right.
Council Patrick, secretary.
Ray Rafferty, vice chair.
Member.
Barry Dunn, chair.
Sunday member.
Tom Olson, member. Dave Prescott, staff.
All right, I do have one quick update on membership. Is I have a verbal from Conrad. He is drawing from the Conservation Commission. We're awaiting formal written documentation on that. So depending on whether the rule of the road are, obviously shouldn't be listed as
Yeah, he doesn't. He's never. I don't even have him on.
on
I just have him on. I have to put him under as absent. So that's how I always. So until we get that letter from the clerk, we'll keep him on there, and then we'll once it's official, we can officially be off.
right. So what that says is
Well,
There's
no,
any-
new person.
we can add a person if there's any recommendations or contributing to this commission, please reach out. And we'll move on that. Approval of the minutes from February 12th.
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Is there any discussion? Yes.
Oh, yeah. you got-
Oh, you're missing.
You also vote to
For adjourn.
adjourn.
Am I missing on that one?
Yes.
Well, if you're on.
Yeah.
I'm missing, Dave.
He is missing. We will correct.
I know
that.
you were on there. I think when it goes, sometimes when it goes to the pro box, that's the issue.
Okay. Any other comments or? All right, so.
Fortunately, I don't have to deal with pro box, but you can see what happens. So I will make sure that was fixed.
Thank you.
Do a vote on the motion as amended. All in favor? I approve unanimously. All right, moving on to public communications. Who is zero analyst? It would be you and me.
That's just us. We have no attendees.
No attending. All right, moving right on and the report of chair. Okay, so the first one, I'm not sure we're talking about something. The CLCC attendance, which is coming up on March 23rd, prior to our next meeting. And Tom has already signed up. And there's a lot of interesting things to cover, but obviously we can't have 8 people. Or bridge.
The reason I signed up was that they do have a thing that they're going to talk about the Connecticut Green Plan, which incorporates the definition.
Well, this one has more meat in it than some of the others I've seen. So that's why I looked around. Who would be interested? The 23rd.
Saturday.
Saturday, 23rd, over at
Any other takers? No? So I think for coverage, I will also go, I think we'll have to get together, okay, to divide sessions up appropriately. So, so I guess my first thing is I have to. No,
I also signed up, so
And I did get your reimbursement. So.
all right, second thing is, there was a bunch of state laws that are being discussed. And they had to be in by last Tuesday. Yeah, last Tuesday. So I looked through them and made a executive decision on the response that we would make. So you can censor me if you disagree with my response. So there was two, SB 5215 and 5218. 5215 is on NIPS. Basically, it says forbid NIPS, or allow each town to forbid NIPS. Right, and the reason that I gave was the NIPS tax ain't working for its intended purpose. Kind of like that. Subsequent to that, the next day, I saw a letter from,
That's what we have in the.
which is in the thing, which said the same thing. So I said, oh, I said, dear John, we were on the same wavelength. So anyway, so is anyone who might do a motion to censure me on that? Do you agree? Okay. And the second one is on riparian protection, SB 52A. And it wasn't specific, it was more of a let's strengthen and increase the riparian areas, et cetera. And my response was a little more, slightly more verbose, which was that, the studies we've done is that the wetlands or riparian areas are significantly the most environmental contributors, financially, if you will, value to the community, and all for strengthening and expanding the riparian. So I assume
I'm
that's
sorry.
SB 5218. No, it says SB. Benefit.
Usually.
That's what I went on online, and I had to enter the comments online. That was there. Now there was like 5 or 6 other environmental bills, but a lot of which I felt that weren't necessarily the purview of the nation. But, part of it. So I did not submit.
Oh, that's.
Well, when I read that, wasn't excited about it. I mean, again, that was my.
That thing passed last year.
Yeah.
So,
Well, every citizen can put in their own.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Some of these.
Yeah, those weren't in the letter. I mean,
This is,
seven.
this is
Oh, the
just,
House bills. Oh, okay.
this is just for this Friday's hearing.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah. So those, I'm not sure all of those were. I saw. That hurt me.
I agree with Ann, online here.
Yeah, it's a House bill. Right.
I will.
Everything.
I think you're fine.
Well, it went in under the bill and had the right name. Maybe it was an
No.
What, that never happens.
It never did. All right, the next thing on my list is Trails Day is coming up 6/1. Is there anyone who volunteered to make Trails Day this year? Last year we passed.
Well, last year we did a joint one with Trail Day. I was able to sell it. Yeah. But this year I'm gonna be out of town.
It is 2 days, correct? June 1st and 2nd, so it's Saturday and Sunday.
I don't know. I think I'm hearing a pass.
We've done a few.
A lot of the newer ones are not town property. They're fairly new or interesting. To me, it'd be worth it. And, just a side note, the Ultra property or Wolfbrook property is not open yet to public access, correct?
As far as I know, yes, they're in the, Mark is working with, working with DPW on the first stages of coming up with potentially.
That would be, I mean, that would be the town property. All right, so let me make a recommendation that you ask Mark is that we would like to schedule this a year in advance, to Trails Day 2025 for that property. I mean, be inappropriate.
So please have trails by then.
Please have Trails by then. Yeah, that's where I'm getting, that's where I'm going.
Trails, but having an allowed access plan
Yeah,
that would be under a guided, not just general open public, but if you had, I'm fairly familiar with a lot of stuff that's up there. I wouldn't have any problem fucking around it. But I think, I think it's a goal.
No, that was what I was suggesting, is just that's what we'd like. What Mark says. That is a goal. That's a good idea. And there was one that Tom forwarded to me about sewer district tax.
And I came up with our last meeting. We had a discussion at the council on establishment. No, it's stormwater.
It's stormwater tax.
People get those mixed up. That was included in the package here.
Yeah, well, I guess yeah, I'm not sure where we. But I think that the question is they were looking for a town manager position.
Not yet.
So.
No, well, I can tell you that from watching the town council, they did have a goal setting session.
Right.
And that was one of the items for the goals, but it didn't make the cut. So from the town manager position in the council, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. I'd say if they work off all their higher priority things, then they make it to it. And I think it only had 1 or 2 votes.
That's gonna get a lot of negative
9.
feedback. Everybody, even those.
Oh, yeah, nobody likes it.
It's
not a tax.
Not a tax,
It's a
it's a
tax.
fee.
Assessment.
Yes, and as we talked about last time, I think that if and when it comes back around, I think that messaging from the commission is really important. Because that is how it gets defeated every time. I worked on this in Rhode Island, and as soon as someone says tax, it's off the table. It's you're taxing me based upon the rain that falls from the sky. That's ridiculous. So that's the message that comes out. So if it comes back around, just thinking like messaging is really, really, really.
And so, but you want help when the rain falls from the sky, your basement's like, you want the state to bail you out or the town to bail you out.
Right.
Help from the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
I know. People are not rational.
Well, the other thing is that it's really looking at the infrastructure and not necessarily how much your contribution to the need for that infrastructure. That's how it's really sold. The amount of area that's going to be collecting the rainwater is how much is going to go into the rainwater system, stormwater system, and that's the money that's being used is to support that system. To get rid of your problem on your property, okay? If you can't put it someplace on your property and keep the water there, you're asking the town to go get rid of it for me. That's how it's sold.
I love the idea that you can do all kinds of incentives. It is going to create rain barrels, rain gardens, permeable pavers, all kinds of plantings. It would be such a great way to just.
You know, you have to have the infrastructure to be able to adjust the assessments, take on those, which I don't think the town has that type of infrastructure.
Somebody somewhere does.
Oh, they
We
do.
just borrow that.
This has been replicated, I think, in, almost 2,000 communities around the country. So there are blueprints of how to do this right,
Well, and they are doing it across the river.
That is what I had. Next is the item 5. report. So we'll start from the left. I'm usually that's
No, I'm gonna just have comments on 3 of the items.
You want to, are you going to discuss Baker's Cove thing later on? Is that what your thought was?
Okay, my papers.
Here.
Appreciate the reminder. I've been working with the ECD folks. They have their master list of all their action. ECCD, the Eastern Conservation Commission, they have their Baker's Cove subcommittee. And I'm on that. And one of the action items that was signed because of our stewardship of the gold property, annual cleanup. So last year I coordinated this, we did with the college, this year. So I'm now working with NER in the non-college interns that they have to set something up. I have a phone call tomorrow, on Wednesday with them. They have tentatively accepted doing some type of thing, probably in the May timeframe. Don't have any more details other than that. Would be something I'll take the lead on this. I'll take it. But there's targeted areas already that were not done by the college students. Hopefully, based by the UConn.
I just wanna. It's gonna come under the non-college projects, but I ended up, this the stewardship folks that were with other things, exactly what they're doing, ended up giving them the Baker's Cove stuff from last year as examples of stewardship plan. So it's not, I mean, there's a link, but it's not exactly like follow-up. However, you might be able to get some of the students willing to help with the cleanup anyway, right? So even though it's not their project, they still might be interested, not just this year's students, like thinking, once we date, we can let them know, and they might have.
So should he get with you or get with Jen?
Just don't bother with that. Just when you have a date, like let those other students be your main focus. Once they have a plan, let us know, and we'll disseminate it to the knowledge.
Are you working on the same areas that you before, or?
No, these are other areas. Because the ECD, I was given the map and what areas they want to focus on. One was on that MLOT area, which is just by the EV property, which is what the college students did last year. And then in the August timeframe, I had worked with them already previously as far as the stuff that there's in the water. There's tires and drums and stuff that I got rid of in the August time. Needed kayak to do that. And then now these other locations are all land-based, but they're like different locations along Thomas Road, along one of the apartment complexes, and that type.
The next topic is open space inventory.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just said it's just Tom.
I'm
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I I had so many meetings, my head is spinning. The Wild Ones meeting, which was largely regarding, designating schools as green leaf schools, I'm very involved in that. On that, I met with Connecticut twice, as far as getting the group I'm working with, narrowing in on their project. Okay. We have good news on the eco fair that, Orbit is trying to get, NPR in under the guise of WSHU. They're committing, they're gonna be at the fair, like, doing lots of recordings all over the place. Great piece. That was a big get. I've got GPA, nice. So big question was about energy efficiency. Like, are there incentives here? Is there, I think you might have mentioned this. What incentives exist for people to improve energy efficiency? Heat pumps, solar panels, electric cars, whatever it is, and who look. How do we consolidate that information? There's a lot of stuff out there.
Municipal, the energizing.
Yeah. I said, oh, that sounds like a Larry Dunn. Because you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff, and
Yes.
we thought it'd be good to have actually. Ooh.
Green.
Hmm?
Okay.
Okay. I met with, 2-hour meeting with the Alliance for Watershed, which we already have a presence. Is someone here like attending that?
No, I have not attended.
Okay.
I have met with them, I did, and, yeah. Yeah,
Her meeting,
that's about it, the lady.
One
her name is Maggie.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
one.
I met with somebody else yesterday, literally for 2 hours, and she really talked a lot about. So I think that the goal is to, they want to put together, because Stonington is doing very different zoning than. So things are happening on the bank, Stonington. There's no cohesive plan for our. Which is to develop a watershed plan. Flooding, wetland protection, recharge, we know all this rules. Economics, recreation, tourism, shellfishing. Nations, I think there are 4 towns, 2 Indian nations. Tribal nations. But I think they just want to have everybody move. I thought that we should sign up. I think 300 individuals, 30 organizations. I thought I'm right in line.
The organization is Green Bank?
No, it's
No, no.
the Mystic Alliance for the Mystic River Watershed.
Okay.
It all started out with a developer taking up like a wetland to build a house, and it just because I think coalesced turned into this big. But it's great what they're doing. They just seem like they have a lot of irons, a lot of fires.
Yeah, I thought it might be
Very
too
strong.
much, but
Yeah.
anyway. I did talk to her and I did say we could support them.
Yeah.
I added them to our website. And I thought I did the reverse, but I may not have.
2 hours, and yeah, so I think that's. And then I met with Jason, and I do have a list of any vendors. 49, we're not even counting this. 50 vendors, so. And I was curious, it's kind of mostly who was there yet last year, but we're adding.
Kind of have a side question. Given this is now getting. What's the range? Day to day? It's
No, rain or shine.
rain or shine.
Yeah, people have elected indoors or outdoors. And one giant room that was being used for speakers last year, they're not gonna have speakers. That was an inefficient use of space and time. So that whole room's gonna be open up and Conservation Commission, I requested that.
We'll get to that when we
Yeah.
get to.
Is that, we have to talk about our plans, I don't see it on where on the agenda is our plans for Earth Day?
We were supposed to have a meeting, Michelle
Right.
and Kristen were supposed to have. We just met like 2 weeks ago, didn't we have a
Yeah.
special meeting?
I mean, I sent an email to you guys, but my point is where, we can talk about it really quickly. Right, but where on the agenda is the plan for?
Well, I thought we talked about it at Concom because they
Okay.
had to move there. and so-
Okay, that's
But
fine,
but anyway, you're right. In my head, I'm going, we have to figure out what our role.
right,
Our, yeah, conservation commission roles are gonna be.
Right.
Because there's not much time after our April meeting.
I think that could be
Or it could be
Yeah,
in August.
okay. that works.
And then just 2 more things, that one is that, I think there's this composting conference at Con College, did you sign up?
Yes.
You're going, I'm going, so there's 3 different tiers. One is sort of the home composting, one is sort of school level, and one is industrial. I don't know if we wanna split by conquer, or if we wanna focus on industrial, et cetera. I like that.
Is anyone else going? Is
Well,
the
three of you
14th
already going now.
Actually, I think it's full, because I got an email today that they're gonna start meetings. But,
Really? Why am I not signing up? I was, before I committed to which session though. I did the whole econ math.
right,
So I don't know if the home thing, but.
Yeah,
well, at school, I thought that.
There's also a neonic seminar, neonicotinoid pesticides. Dangers of the neonic.
Also a
Is there a
that
bill? Is
you
a
might
bill
want
Yes,
to
SB,
to restrict
SB
that?
9.
And that's on the agenda for Friday. So
Anyway, I sent it through. Anyone wants to go to that? Try it maybe in the. No, maybe I did. No, I did sign up.
I just got an
Industrial.
email at
That's the
so you
email.
must have,
That's.
Because you and I are supposed to be on that waste man.
Yeah.
meetings. I know.
That's what it is. Another 14.
When it's full, so we understand it's full. You may have trouble signing up anyways.
Just try. That's our. Oh, and by the way, I threw the eelgrass. I said, not eelgrass. Oh, yeah. Should be in that, eelgrass.
Well, the rep on the eelgrass committee. But they did have the industry reps. So I thought it was. You're right, that is.
One more thing, I had a whole big back. I'm gonna do a nice series of articles on publication right now. She's gonna there, dig in.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I did.
I see, but I bunch of notes from you all the time.
I did have a meeting with Heather. Which coincidentally is in my yard. they have this grant, and they're like, we have to use the grant, and I'm like, I feel bad, I shouldn't accept it, but they're like, please, please, so my neighbor and I are each getting a rain garden for so I met with her to design rain gardens.
But the record state there is no conflict of interest.
I said, it doesn't look fun, you know, but they're like, no, they wanted a place, I'm like. Not enough.
As long as you're out in the open with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, can't you please help?
You know, they're struggling.
Expires. That's it.
Tom, you gotta replace this week.
Okay,
Okay, with the Conn College projects, are we gonna talk about them later? They did have a couple. There, I am tracking one food diversion. Bill, and also the climate. In the climate change, there, and again, this is just, these are drafts that are, you know, up for hearing, comment. But I would say that we are ahead of the game, but one of the things in here is municipalities must consider sustainability, climate resilience.
what a shocker.
And, but we're already.
Yep.
got that
You
on
think we
our
should do
list.
that?
I'm sorry?
Can we do that?
Sure.
And what number was the climate change?
500. And then the other thing for
You just-
development of sustainable purchases. And they're going to model it, so one of the state agencies for. It's good, and then I'm pretty sure it's a volunteer. For that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
What number is that?
Same bill.
See,
This is an
that's all.
omnibus bill.
Okay, that's cool.
In fact, there are 3 or 4 bills more that are in technology on solar. That was public hearing last week. Depending on what happens with that, there's expected to be. So the composting out, and then there's a Zoom signed up for. Um,
Yes, so I actually know about this. FEMA got some funding specifically, and it's happening in, I think Rhode Island is done or is completed. Massachusetts, I think, is mostly completed, so they're extending to sections of Connecticut to come up with a coastal erosion layer and to show basically how the rate at which erosion is going to happen at a certain time frame. It's just another overlay that FEMA can then use, you know, and municipalities and homeowners and everything to be able to see where they live and how much of a challenge that is.
Okay.
But the other thing is, just to follow up on your discussion about the nip laws. So I ran into our representative Garden weeks ago, and pulled me aside, chatting a little bit about the environmental bills that are coming up. At that time, they were just coming in. He said, I said, well, the Conservation Commission would see something that need our support on it. Let us know. Echo that. And was sort of a lukewarm response on what's the problems.
Allow the town.
Allow the town
Right,
to
enabling
decide.
legislation. Not sure that that's. We'll see.
It's like one of these incremental steps, right?
Right.
So you do that and then say, well, if that doesn't work, then you move to mandatory. So I'm not necessarily. Let's say, I'd rather have move a step forward than just sit there and go, until it's perfect, we're not gonna do it. And just my first.
Boy, I think they can go another.
All my stuff's in the agenda.
Okay, back to the agenda. Open space inventory has been updated February 26th. I could bring it up, or you just want to?
Well, here's what I was gonna say on it, is that I went back, it was based on Bray's comments from the last meeting, and what's going on with COSA, I updated those lines, I went to revalidation and everything. Found a couple other error, typographic stuff and status updates, provided all that information to Noah, last week ago, and then he said he's gonna work on it, and when I checked this morning, it wasn't. But he has, just in my discussions with the Police Streets Committee, we were given updated maps for the town, and I brought one of them with me here. But it already has like the Center Groton Reserve on here and stuff, so he's, stuff is happening in the various sections of the data. Now, with that, I should say is that the calculations for the protected and preserved portion, which is included now on the database, we total everything up. Now we're about 90 acres short of 30%.
29.6% protected, 90.740.
So it's very close. So we're getting here, there, and I'll be taking a look once it's all updated. As far as are there opportunities here to get to the 30%? Through either getting a conservation easement like on 90 properties, target under this 60-acre range, or are there go back like we did last year, which will propose some other areas that are town owned that don't look like they're really going to go for sale here, just to kind of get it using the better information to be able to get recategorization from the town. Bust.
The new merits.
Yeah. But what I can say is going back to that, I mentioned the town council priorities. They got 8 votes to take a look at open space on their priorities. They are willing to take a look. First, check that box off on their priorities. That was all. It was a motion, it was brought forward by Councilor Jones. And when I talked to him independently at the community meeting that we had, he indicated the reason he proposed it is he just wanted to follow up on his discussions. We had to prove everything process last year in regards to where they are with the land bank, because he was the one that brought land bank up in the first place. So I think that's why he's willing to look back with it. So this is something I'll take a look at over the next month or two here and see, because they're going to be busy going into the budget cycle. So this will be a post-budget cycle.
Remember, we're pushing stewardship. This thing will.
Right. So that's a factor too.
Which reminds me, is there any update to the dollar amount in base fund?
No updates.
Still a good chunk. Anything else?
No, that's all I had for.
Out of that. Okay, so in 6.2, open space planning. I don't have, other than what we talked about.
I can tell you that GOSA is looking at. They did meet with Groton Utilities and are trying to establish a partnership similar to what they, Groton Utilities has with them. More to follow. I'll be actually, they're going to be going out this week. Offered.
So they weren't interested in allowing people.
GOSA is not interested in any type of conservation. But they are interested in potentially working with Groton Utilities to purchase watershed areas.
Projects that are adjacent.
Right, and abutting their current properties. Expanding their basic current properties to include watershed areas that the neighbors could basically subdivide their property. Basically on the tax roll. Groton Utilities benefits because they're now expanding their watershed.
Is this a combination between the two, or are they?
Well, what they do is they set up a member, with the way it's set up with Avalonia, there's a formal member agreement for each of the parcels. Avalonia has one, and Groton Utilities had the Atkinson property along, going up towards Ledger. And then they are looking at, they also have another memorandum agreement for a parcel of it, Ledger. That really has a OSWA grant submission. Where and they get that from reading the memorandum of agreement, you basically Groton Utilities, because they're providing funding, gets to basically says this is the restrictions that we want to put on your land use. It's to basically treat it similar to our use following our rules relative to watershed protection. It's not a full easement per se, but it's a memorandum. So because I gave you this money,
I want some.
I want something back.
Right? Sure. Space plan. Oh, land conservation. So there was supposed to be some by the end of February.
In terms of, which part? What are you asking first?
The first question is, there was supposed to be an RFP draft.
Yep.
Where the volunteer committee would support planning and development in reviewing that RFP and working with proposed respondents evaluation.
So I think I haven't looked yet, but I think that has been released in the role of the ECC, so planning and zoning, economic development, and then conservation is going to sit on the panel.
So after they get the response back.
Correct. Yes.
So you met the target at the end of February. Release it. When's the target?
Ooh, I used to remember what that was. I want to say sometime.
Is it? Let me make the request of getting a copy of RFP that has been released. Anyone else want to see that?
No, I'll look at it.
Tom and I can.
Yeah. All right. Well, we sent it to all of
This
you.
all the time.
Yeah, you can send it out.
It was issued on February 15th.
What's the date? What does it have?
It's available online.
And what's the link?
Oh, they don't.
I just looked, I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, that-
I was going to say early April, and I'm correct. It's April.
To April. This is for the POCD consulting service.
Right. That's the problem with it's online, but there's so much stuff online. So it tells you.
Send the link, yeah.
And it's like buried in the.
I'll send you guys a link. For Tom. Well,
No.
No, you send it like that.
Make it official. We'll give you a credit. Planning staff side. Well, you already had a demerit to start the meeting, so this.
what was my demerit? Oh, that's okay. I just assumed it went, it's not a demerit.
That's the demand,
That is a-
assumption.
Well, he got it,
So that's all I
I
can
didn't
assume.
get it, I went
I
online.
know.
and looked.
That's all I can assume that.
We don't need to revisit that, really.
I know.
Okay, moving on.
So-
Okay, PLCD.
Right, so we were gonna talk about the outreach section. Well,
I mean, that would
no,
be section in the.
of the COC.
I'm sorry. Yep.
And we didn't, obviously didn't have any staff.
No, and then we still don't. So I have talked with Lauren, and so we're down an economic development specialist. So she is carrying a huge load right now, and she doesn't have the additional capacity. That being said, we're in the process of interviewing for that position, so it could be a potential. But again, Lauren doesn't work for the planning department. She works for the economic development, so her time. But if there are certain requests, she could potentially help. We still have to kind of, as we talk today, figure out what exactly you would need and whatnot. I think that might be a little bit clearer because I'll have some sort of guidance in terms of staff.
So I have an idea that kind of is connected with the Town College project. But this isn't, I mean, talking with Greg to try to figure out how to support the students that are doing this, I had an idea that really isn't their project, but basically, and let me brainstorm this, don't say why it won't work. And I know stuff that's already exists, so the idea would be to try to appeal more to young people, get them to volunteer and be part of that process. And so the idea would be something like, have an app, a town volunteer app. And you're gonna go walk on a property, you can take your phone with you, you go into the app, property, shows the trail, you follow the trail, if you see something that needs attention, take a picture, it goes in the app, and so basically gets young people, young families with technology that they're already familiar with using to become our eyes on our properties. And that gets more, it's a way to get them more involved. And once they start playing with that, maybe they'll find other things. If you want to develop an app that has things on it. So that's the idea, is to engage younger people by having an electronic something that they would have. Is sort of the thought. So now you can throw your rocks at it.
I wasn't gonna throw rocks at it, but my thought was that we do have, well, the whole problem on apps is made. We have an IT department, we have maps and trails available through the website. And and we also have a online entry of issues that you can send to Parks and Rec. So, but the question is not in the
So then
form.
we don't need to solve
Right,
the problem.
right. How do you
Is
get-
that the kind of idea going forward to make the
more
stuff we
accessible.
have more accessible to
Right.
people all the time?
Right, which means is you could do a project, my thought with college to develop the app, but then we need the IT department to say, we'll own it.
Right, or some other, right, so we need to figure out what, and like right now, if you know, we don't have any support for our volunteers right now. We have people, like they want to submit forms or like there is no support for any volunteers now. So part of having outreach and outreach to get volunteers, because there's outreach in terms of just making people aware of things. But the outreach that we really need is to get people interacting, volunteering. So in order to do that, you've got to have some way of managing a volunteer system. So maybe that's what goes in the plan is to develop the town develop some way to manage a volunteer system.
But we need then a town sponsor, and I think Parks and Rec.
Right, but right now we're just going to look at what goes in the plan. The plan is going to be high level, so figuring out how it would work is what comes after its acceptance. That's my thought.
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying is that, looking ahead is that it'd be nice to say, we've got not pre-approved, but that's on, yeah, buy-in
Buy-in, yeah.
at the end, even though there's not the function there, so I would say that sounds good, but kind of like to get Mark Berry to say, hey, what do you think about this idea?
Well, I mean, this goes with Mark Berry needs staff, because,
Right.
I mean, this is the same problem with stewardship, in
Right.
that
Did he
Yeah.
say?
we need more, but again, that goes into the plan. If we're planning say we need more parks and rec staff
I'm
for these,
agreeing with you, and I think that if I was him, I would jump on this, but we can get his buy-in earlier, then he becomes part of the
So
process.
maybe Mark needs to be one of our conversations.
That's where I'm going, is to help create or generate the objectives that go into it. And then at the end, then it will help before it get implemented, because it's gonna have to be picked up by IT, which means we get sponsorship within the department that says, I want, so it all, I'm just trying to think ahead on this stuff.
Right, because that's the idea of what to put in the plan for outreach.
I'm not.
No, but I'm saying that's
Yes.
what suggestion for outreach.
Ray, do you, on the committee, I forget which one you're on, one of the parks committees, isn't there something similar to that already about, there's some sort of form to fill out?
Because that's part of why I got this idea. going.
Yeah, that may be a start to
Well,
an app.
but that would, right, the form would be in the app.
Right, absolutely, right.
Right now, there's an online form.
Right,
It's
that's
not-
straightforward to
not
the
an
app, right.
No, I know it's not.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right, the point, yes, so we have some outlets, kinds of things that we could put in there. So that's, I think honestly, that's the least of our problems, the one by task. Because we have all the stuff in our stewardship manuals, and we have the, so it's a matter of the.
Getting outreach.
Right,
Yes,
linking
yeah.
up the people to be able to use that information and make it, and make whatever they do useful to us. Yeah, the sport audits could be on
Right,
there,
that could be
Yep.
part of the.
yeah, exactly.
Have a game that's like a bingo game, where there's like photographs of like a certain rock in a certain park. or
Find
certain-
this.
So and then, so like kid
That'd
would
be
be
a
in
kid, a
there.
scavenger hunt for the kids, yeah.
And but the board would be different each time, so it'd be, or you could do it over a month.
So make it fun as well as functional. So
Okay,
that's my idea.
There we go.
so. I think you heard support for the approach. With at least one follow-up to say, connect with Mark Beer.
Right, we need to have the staff, right, we need the staff connection, absolutely.
So. Recommendation, Dave, on the connection with Mark, do it directly, do it you.
If you, how about this? If you can, I'm happy to make the connection. If you can come up with like a little blurb of some sort that kind of, it doesn't have to be fine tuned, but just something big picture. And that way I'm not trying to quote you. And you can, put it in there exactly what you're envisioning.
Ding, and you get a little gem.
You need to gain that actually gets the data. I hear what you're saying. How do you make it something that they're.
Saturday, you're in the weeds.
Oh, moving right. We were on PLCD, we were on outreach. And anything else?
I've read through the proposal RFP here while we were discussing all this other stuff. Generally speaking, I support the thing as far as the work scope. I'm a little concerned about the evaluation. Already out there. I gladly volunteer to be on the evaluation.
I tried to get involved in the RFP and
It looks like this
I see
was
your
written by
line.
the staff, but it's very similar to what the staff is briefed. Consistently briefed us.
All right.
And that's the conversation. So that's kind of.
But I mean, it's consistent. Our sustainability type of stuff is, they have words in there, and that kind of stuff. But we weren't ignored.
All right. Budget support. This is where I was gonna bring up the town. You have those. Folks haven't seen it.
Not on the agenda, right?
It's not an agenda, I can. Here. The- Okay, so. I think. Actually, the highlighting is, thanks.
Yeah.
In terms of what's there, so. 13 is a lot. So NIPS is number 6. And open space is number 9. And I think the intent of that one is the goals to be 30%.
But to get a council commitment, get to 30%, so that we're in sync with the council, with this current council. We already voted on what we want. We have not updated our conservation open space plan to reflect that, but we said we're gonna update that, to get part of the POCD, part of the POCD. And so, and one of those things was the protected preserved and everything like that. And just going forward, I think, but to answer this question here, as far as how do you get through the open space review goals, would be, we would propose probably in the July, August timeframe to make a presentation to them and maybe have a draft resolution for them in regard to the account is committed to a 30% goal. And maybe if these are the final actions to get the last 100-acre, in the protected preserve category, if we can't have something for that. Yeah.
Just in that, we say, oh, we've accomplished our goal of 30%. There are people on the town council who feel that, well, that's all we need, we're done. So now let's develop everything. There's an attitude that.
That's right. You're always going to have that. But
Well, I was going to suggest something slightly different, is that the goal would not just be, but that's certainly one element. Then the second one could be the trails, right? So, hey, wait a minute, put the percentage part. This key aspect needs.
well, and that goes back to further establishment of the system that we're committed to in the last POCD.
So second goal, third goal would be stewardship. Is now that we have this land, folks, the goal ought to be to make it accessible to people based upon not economic
Right.
ability or the ability to drive somewhere or whatever. I mean, so there's the use of open space, protection of the open space. You gotta start working that in everything we do. Okay, so I support your July objective of putting together a draft goal proposal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The right technical term. So if that's for July, and I propose that for our June meeting, we have a draft request. And I'd be happy to. Else. You're good at stewardship. Well, is a submission to meet the
town council has established these 13 goals that they're trying to work on this year. So how, obviously, when it comes to town open space review goals, that's their goal, is they want to review their open space. Okay. Obviously, we should be contributing to that as far as our recommendation. We owe that to them.
since it's our one objective.
Yes, right. And so that's what we're proposing here is, what I'm proposing is that we should be shooting for the July, August timeframe, for getting onto their agenda. Because they need a referral, and then we have to discuss, what do we want to present at that referral? Is it just an update? Is it a recommendation? Or is it a resolution? Or is it an ordinance? Or is it a referendum to go buy more? Okay, there's a spectrum of what we could be offering to them. far as on how to answer the mail. That they've kind of given us a task right here through this goal process.
So the ask is a subcommittee to come up with a draft. June here, July.
I've got the lead.
Yeah, I was gonna-
Okay, working with Todd.
Yeah, I was gonna say the three of us.
Oh, good.
The chair, the vice chair, and the worker. That's all.
No problem, right? This is like, got this down. Got
Because
that much.
one of the big things, she was saying, we should just 30% is an endpoint,
Right,
because one of the big things is connection of these. Okay.
it's a multi-factor goal,
Yeah,
it's not just the percent.
But it's just, if you're gonna go by the goal, you know, so we'll sort this out.
No, sir, I mean, that's the purpose of
The
the
goals can be adjusted.
I mean, it used to be 20,
21.
oh, 20, right, 20. All right, the other one is the NIPS thing, and that one's, I guess, the state kind of running second fiddle to the state.
Yeah, there's more, now that the state, I don't even know if they were aware at the time that they had to go doing this. Was it? I think there was also that they put it on there because they kind of agonized on how to spend the money. Well, there's other options out there, not those two. They you know, like collect these things and bag them and get some money back, or how you want to approach this. I think they're getting a little, you know, there's been a lot of people giving them comments. There's interest as far as how do we spend the money that we got? Not necessarily I think the town manager did a very nice job in his letter to respond to the state action. The plus side is still, the checks are still coming. How we're spending them.
Right, so the reality is how you spend the money is coming.
Yeah.
Now, every year we go in and put our things in every year. So we need a different approach. Since we're over 2. Like, any thoughts there?
Can you just refresh me, what did we vote on? Attachments, stuff outside. Well, did we propose water, refillable water cooler thing?
No.
That's what I want.
Yes, I think you went. Formally, we went in to town council 3, 4 different. But it wasn't beautification,
Yeah.
and it was, you know, that's kind of.
It wasn't the trash can back.
It wasn't the trash can. So.
Those are coming.
Yeah, that's where they're spending money right now.
That's what we not. So like I said. Since that isn't working, what can we do different to achieve what we would like?
Then we want a water dispenser. People don't have to buy plastic water bottles.
I don't think that those are clarifying roles in the state responsibilities.
Yes, there's certain things you can only spend the money
Those
on.
reducing plastic. People aren't buying plastic water bottles.
I think this is,
You're stretching it.
this is more focused.
Clean up.
Right.
They could
It's not-
buy
it's
a
not just water
street
bottles.
sweeper. Pick them up. And you can pay people.
I'd like to see the wording of that bill.
Yeah.
It was reducing,
Well, it's how the town's interpreting it also. Lawyer.
All right, so I think it's more. We're gonna need to get more community involvement and noise on this rather than us.
you want NIPS noise, is that what you're saying?
Well, NIPS money utilization.
Okay.
So you're our. You're good at that.
We're kind of,
They supported this. We need to get more noise.
Can I ask, Dave, ask a quick follow-up on saying that Montville, I guess, or eventually we're gonna get election trash cans for that specific,
Yeah, there's already, I actually just got a today, no, it came last week, I just got a district site plan. Some locations of these big belly or trash. The first ones that I'm working on. I think there's a couple going there.
Is it for any trash or what minute?
It's any trash.
It's any
But
trash.
it will take a net loss.
Yes.
You do nips, you gotta put it on
Reducing
outside of
plastic.
it.
Yeah,
Well, you have to have-
well,
wait for
well,
the
check out your window, if you notice, if you walk
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So they're gone by through what?
Oh, everywhere.
So what you're doing is putting up an alternative, waste.
That's what Parks and Rec is.
So by putting up solar factors, so instead of, you can drive by and just, window in it.
No, the door on.
That's the door, yeah.
You gotta- Yeah.
So that doesn't help the out the window thing.
No,
I mean, these guys are on time.
It's not connected
It's
to
gonna
the
be
out the
quick.
window.
Yeah,
no, I offered a free sweeper to corporate client. Which I keep up on. You know, which is a lot more efficient than putting a can there, because the people have to go, they have cans there. They're just not putting the stuff in it. Anyway, so back to the original point, which is, can you tell us when it will be on the agenda? Is that part of the budget, or because of the money coming in, handled at different times?
So what's the when, what part are you talking?
I'm talking about when the discussion to have, what do we do with the NIPS money?
I don't know, so I'll find out.
Because we gotta rally the troops on that date, right? And it's not a budget thing because it's money coming in.
Right.
It's not money being budgeted.
I think it's on the. What you find out what the dates are, the payment dates coming in, because that's based on that input to the town, that that check.
Twice a year.
Twice a year, I think it's, September and April.
See what I can find out.
Then, yeah, then,
If we, yeah, but I think if we.
that was a restriction.
If we had some ideas. Rather than some, you guys come up with some idea, like,
Well, we had some ideas from our last.
Right. good time to chat about all this.
And that may, on that note, I know one of the discussions is what you all are gonna talk about it. This may be something that. think about. It's something
Or
creative.
or have a petition that people.
Good to go,
Yeah,
that could be our
petition it.
action item. Petition.
It feels
Deal with
something.
the NIPS. That's great.
Just out here are the options that you do with NIPS. Please check the one from initial letter, so I can sign it.
Or rank these choices.
And it could be something, I know we're not exactly talking about college yet, we overlap a lot, as you all know. But it could be something, but some of the students could come up with a really kind of cool display, something visual with, it could, you all know, you pick a road, heavily traveled, spend 5 minutes and probably get 50 hits for a project. So if you wanted to think about that, if you do want to do some sort of petition, evaluate which idea you like best, you need something visual there that's going to draw people in.
The other thing, one thing that's just with it would be rather than have a paper position. Should have it online so that we're not having to pay. That
Now we're
maybe
just-
you start at Big Groton.
Yeah.
Well, we can do a Greater Groton after the
Greater
fair
Groton,
to
yeah,
get
right.
even.
Exactly.
But, and I'm kind of thinking that we probably should put some of what the town has done as part of the options and see how many people pick that versus. No, I don't mind having.
Big belly, called big belly,
What's that?
the big belly trash compactor.
What are those costs?
Alarm. That's
Right, I assume a bit.
But that's more. I don't know.
I assume we're
My
just on-
question is,
What?
this money is coming, the money's coming in April, or fares in late April, will decisions already have been made? Or
Okay.
are we
Oh,
talking
April.
for-
Okay.
So we're talking next cycle.
money? Okay.
And this is education, you know what I mean? I think that that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, we gotta get, this is very important, so we gotta get the ball moving. Like I said, Dale, what to do? Gotta do something different. This, I like this idea. Okay. All
That
right,
gives us a focus as a commission.
so Dave, could you dig up what the town is doing with the money from this last bit? So I thought we put those as options and our options. Community thinks of what they think versus.
Yeah, the letter, so the letter
Right
from,
here in the letter.
yeah, in the letter, there's a list of 4 things, so it's
Yeah.
John's letter, so basically, are there other things besides what's in?
Solar trash compactors, drain nets, recycling and
That
Yeah, that is.
And what, this is recycling education, what was that?
I think it's developing some sort of education. I know that there was some talk in the past about like the artwork. Like there was gonna be some sort of art display they wanted to put down at Esker Point Beach to
Maybe a fish sculpture,
Yes.
people throw into that.
or just,
Make it a game.
well, hey, like I said,
Well, no, I think the way it got sold as education, Franco was at the time was the proposal of it, that was to have a artistic collection.
Fish, they already had it built,
I don't know where it all.
they, in front of Complex Studio.
I know that was one of the tools.
Right. I mean, we have a plan of action, which tries to put some community input from fair, from the David Rodden. We get data to go back and say, wait, a minute, this is what the people want. Not what is in the interest of it.
Okay, I would like to read from our letter of May 3rd, 2022,
Oh, you found it.
to the mayor.
May
May 3rd, 2022 here.
So 2 years ago.
The legislation requires one wholesalers to remit the surcharges to the municipalities in which the containers are sold, and to the municipalities to use the remitted funds for environmental measures aimed at reducing solid waste or reducing the impact of litter. On section 10. These measures include such things as hiring a recycling coordinator, installing storm drains, filters to block solid waste, including beverage container debris, or purchasing a mechanical street sweeper, vacuum, or brooms to remove litter or other debris from streets, sidewalks, and abutting lawn and turf areas. Okay, so that's.
Environmental measures is very broad.
I will
Such-
argue that, but
yes.
they do give you specific examples
There's
as part of the
examples,
law.
they're not-
The law is, just if you want to go look it up, it was SB 1037. We use in our.
Could you forward that?
Yeah.
We're just-
You signed it.
I know.
I'm fine, but you already got it, so.
This together, part of the law. Wait, else?
Okay. Where were we?
Budget support?
Vacant land review, I have nothing to report, anything that you've heard on?
Well, there's there's a school, there's a public hearing tomorrow.
Yeah. That's, that was on it.
Public hearing. There's the two properties. One is the school, Groton High School, and the other one is Pleasant Valley School. Public inputs. So I was going to say nothing on the Groton Heights because it's full plan five. Do with that. But we had already previously proposed a subdivision or subdividing the putting off all the the area along the road, Pleasant Valley Road. Go develop that. It's a great industrial area, whatever you want to do with it, but you don't need 16 acres to to take off the text. I'd prefer to have it subdivided and leave that as a protected area.
Well, that's what we recommended, it's
Yeah.
split it. 50 or something
Yeah.
like
It's
that.
about 8 acres.
Because that's the way, if you look at it, they got the tree, that's about the way it is now.
No, right. Just leave the trees.
Yeah, leave the trees.
Leave the trees. It's the easy way to look at it.
So it's,
We already wrote that.
we wrote that, so that was the plan, you were gonna reiterate
Right.
what we
We agreed
submitted.
that.
So, yeah.
And I should say, I want to clarify one thing, because we've already had people coming here saying, what's the plan for these sites? There is no plan. There's nothing submitted or anything. The purpose of this public hearing is to get ideas out. So if you hear from anyone, oh, they're gonna build this, or no, there's nothing being proposed.
It's a clean sheet of paper.
Exactly.
Because nobody's shown interest or.
Oh, there's
No,
interest.
there's
There's plenty of interest. Yes.
And there's been previous people that were actually put under contracts. Yeah, Thayer Mahan and I don't know who, there was another guy that had something.
Thought there was
Yeah, there's
some.
some developer that actually presented,
Is that the one?
at the last meeting.
But it's nothing.
It all fell through.
Nothing has, we have no site
Oh.
plans, no nothing. Because so right now, it's.
We only had a committee of people that could push these things.
Wait, aren't you on there?
Yeah, and I keep saying, when are we gonna get together so we can actually push the ball forward?
When and where's that meeting tomorrow?
It's a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what-
I think it's 6:30.
It's like,
Isn't that?
what's different than the one we had on the very same?
Yeah, it's gonna be at the beginning of that.
Oh, so it's during the meeting?
We had like, what, 70 people show up for that? I'm sure. What we've been waiting for, Connecticut
Okay,
College
so-
Project.
Yeah.
You want to put it up?
So, yes,
Okay.
so the
I shall.
page that's in the agenda, the words in there are directly from the students' latest draft of their plans as of last Monday. So they got together on Monday, they tried to update their plans, so most of us have updates since then, so I'm gonna say what was in the plan, what I know about some of the things and people that are working with. So Kristen, I'm gonna say one thing about the Earth Day, and I'll turn it over to you. Because obviously there's a lot of stuff they're talking about, but one of the things I did definitely ask them to do and have Jen is to decide whether or not they wanted their own booth or be part of our group, have their stuff. Not only do they want 2 booths, actually. So the Earth Day group wants a booth, and they're talking about doing like trash art for kids or whatever. Problem is that you don't want to have them handling real trash, right? So you're gonna have to get stuff that's like trash, but not trash off the ground. So it's a little tricky, right? Because you're actually, if you just say, well, here's clean bottles or here's paper or whatever, that would be trash. Or the bubble, maybe take bubble wrap from the back, the doors or whatever. But you don't really want to add more stuff that's going to be trash to show them how to make stuff out of trash. So that's if they decide to go with it. But the point is they want to have 2 booths. My request, I don't know, Kristen, who's deciding who's to help, I would like their booths to be near our booth if possible, so then we can have that kind of overlap with what they're doing.
Well, I was thinking of having us, I think tomorrow night's the meeting, we'll figure out. And I liked how we were last year, because I felt like Conservation Commission, all the various groups, like we were right by the rain garden.
Right, because the students were near us.
Right, so this year I was thinking about, but I think they make anyway, but you finish what you wanted on all.
Well, that was my main point, was the further conversation we had about the booths. So the main point being that they're gonna have their own booth space. And that leaves the Conservation Commission's booth for whatever we want to do with it. So our whole booth is us. We're not gonna also have the college projects.
No, we were never gonna.
Oh, yeah, that was I was offering to my students, my groups, do you wanna because if it's just a poster or whatever, do you want us to display it in the Conservation Commission, reporting on our work with students, or do you guys wanna have your own booth that has all the projects represented? So that was a question I put to the students and to Jen. And they go, yeah, we want our own booth. Great, that means that we have all our space. Now, you can give the rest of your,
I was gonna say, for the two booths, you said one of them, so one's this,
the other one is the other projects.
other project, okay, so one's on trash repurposing.
One's the Earth Day students themselves with whatever they want to add with it, and then the other one is the other students who have their projects represented. Between the two booths, we'll have as much as they're ready to present the 5 projects. And now you might be.
Okay, my conversation with my group,
Yes,
Jason had some very specific things he hoped that they would do, and one is sort of,
Yep.
They're gonna have a, venting booth, where you can go in there and rant about how upset you are about climate change.
oh, that's
They're
funny.
gonna have, one project last year, climate anxiety booth,
Yeah.
so he wanted them to also be involved in that, and also kind of peripherally involved in the panels with the legislators, so kind of, and that's kind of all indoors right next to that
Okay,
main area.
which makes sense they want to be indoors.
Yeah, so that's kind of one, so secondly, they were talking about doing something about fast fashion. That's a great idea, because most people don't know what that is, and just to even raise awareness. Larry's like, what is, it's like basically almost like single-use fashion. It's
Oh,
because
okay.
things are, trends come and go so fast, when you go get something cheap at H&M or Zara, you wear it and then that's it, and it's poorly made, it's not meant to last, it's just meant to be quick. And so there's a whole, it's really like single-use, almost single-use clothes. People might wear it a little bit, doesn't like, so anyway, raising awareness, fast fashion is bad, huge carbon footprint, all that. The other, now, they want to have children make things out of trash. To me, that almost relates.
That's what I was talking about, yeah.
Celebrates trash, like.
I know,
they
it's-
wanna-
Well,
So I've been trying to steer them ever so
Okay.
gently till it's their idea. How about a game where you sort trash? Here's a bunch of stuff. Which bin does it go in? You got a garbage, you got a recycle bin, you got a.
Is it class 1 and class 2 plastic?
Well, that's the thing, because I put money that out of all of us, there might be 1 or 2 who know what actually gets recycled in product. That's the thing. We don't know. I don't know. My husband doesn't know.
Mascara.
Nobody knows.
I always use one.
Scary.
well,
But I think one, but
the
anyway,
city is different than the town, because I think
Well,
we
that's it.
recycle more than the town, like we recycle more layers in the town.
but untangle trash. So I'm trying to get them to invent a game so you get points. Like if you take a paper bag and you put it in the and they put it in the recycle, that's good. What if you put it in the home composting? So like a point system. I'm trying to get them to go that, but they were gonna get back to me like today about what their final, and they're like, we'll rewrite a proposal. I'm like, don't rewrite your proposal. Start doing it. The other thing he wants them to do is social media, like really start promoting each of these vendors on Instagram.
I know.
It's a nice
Yep.
job, it's like a time to start, because this thing is now, 6 weeks away, it's time to like promote. I'm waiting to hear.
That sounds like a lot of things, and.
Yeah, it's a lot of things.
And that trash game, and we were talking about possibly doing that whole trash issue at our booth.
Well,
So,
GCA is also willing to step in on that. I mean,
okay,
the theme this year is planet versus plastic. So
Right.
GCA like, we'll do the game if the kids don't, you
Okay.
know? And so, so between all of us, we can do some NIPS coverage.
Yep.
Trash,
Well,
recycle.
we got 2 things, what college are gonna do and what we're gonna do.
Right.
So I guess we have to see what college can do first.
well, and that's just it, I mean, if they don't have, if they don't have the capacity, because it sounds like they might already be over capacity with what the students can reasonably do and do it well, right? And if you're gonna have them do NPR and social media, whatever, that's a lot, like to have them also design a game feels
No,
like.
we don't
right.
GCA do the game, but I think this group, this body, I think the idea of NIPS survey.
Right.
NIPS, I think NIPS is what we should do.
Okay,
is
well,
in
that's
class.
right, but
We'll-
that's-
We'll get GCA to do the game, and then
Right.
Con College, maybe we'll say, hey, these other guys are doing that, or help with the games.
right, so then it's that, right, so that's more of the next outreach discussion. So, so there's so much overlap in these things. Is there anything else, Kristen, from that project? Obviously, that's got a lot of stuff.
You mean on the Con College? Yeah, and there's 3 people, now these families kind of. Actually, we had 2 groups, but there was one group did. The bulk of all the. I feel like this group is gonna be a really good.
So and people, this is what they said in their proposal, so you can let us know.
Yeah, so
What's
I
really
think
going on?
after that, well, and I haven't, and that was not a meeting, that was just.
I mean, they figured this out in class on Monday and then gave us, here's what we came up with in class. So you've talked to them since then? Yes?
Yes, because I was just confirming that they. City of Groton.
I was surprised it said city, yeah, but they did
Yeah.
not realize there was a difference.
Right, and so I tried to explain it to them, and I said, if you do want to do the city, because part of this was about justice, which they
Right.
seemed really interested in there.
Right.
But I didn't actually see that there.
No, I
But
didn't either.
There are 3 very different census tracts in the city, so
Right.
if they want to do that, that's great. You know, these are their projects.
Right,
And then I think those were the.
so that's their focus, the solar life cycle analysis, there's a solar array on Con College. Evidently it opens and closes like a flower, I haven't seen it. But anyway, they're focusing on that. Yes, so they're basically going to try to get all the background information and find out the issues with cost benefit, and I said, and please add environmental impacts. So they've already got an existing array, they're going to dig through the data and see what's in the data, and talk about disposal to find that data. So we'll see, I'll work with them as they start gathering. And then sustainable development back
Yeah,
again.
so this is a little different, and I think I had a Zoom with them for class. But what they wanted to do while we were discussing it was sustainable agriculture. And then they had so much involved in that, all the way down to the food is actually sold, what's a sustainable farm look like versus practicing. I don't see that here.
So this will
maybe,
go right to food security, yeah.
yeah, but that was another thing, as they were talking.
Yeah. And then the last one, we redirected a little bit because Greg had suggested comparing to Riverside, but we don't have any documents on that, so we have to go to Mark Berry, and I didn't think it was fair to have them depend on Mark getting back to them with documents, since we hadn't even asked Mark if he was willing to be involved in the project. So I thought that was just kind of setting them up to fail if we didn't already have the information. So I kind of redirected them, and then Ray, you are good with the redirection, right? Which
Yeah.
was to help us come up with the outreach to have people get a better idea of the value and importance of stewardship. And so since we didn't have the COP documents, I gave them our draft stewardship manual, which I didn't realize, I mean, it's still draft, we still haven't published our overall stewardship manual, so we finished that.
Well, the manuals are out there.
No, the plans
No,
for each property is out
But
there.
the
The
manual,
overarching manual is not on our website because when I found it was still in draft form. So I was like, oh, I guess we should finish this and publish it, so. Anyway, so I gave them that, and I gave them the one that has Baker's Code that they used last year. And I gave them last year's report, so I don't know exactly how they're gonna zero in on this, and we've got a meeting with them tomorrow afternoon. Kind of see, now that they've got more background information on the redirection, and what they're gonna come up with in terms of actually, but basically, what they started talking about, having a poster that, you know, talks about stewardship and importance. I said, well, I explained to them that one of our biggest problems is getting volunteers. And that I would like them to focus on how we outreach to young people and families with kids, because a lot of our, our stewardship volunteers across the town, across the region, are not young people. And sooner or later, they're not gonna be able to do stewardship anymore. And so we need to add the younger, and that's where I got the idea, having the app, so to take this, Ray pointed out that even just walking on the property and giving feedback is useful, because we don't have a way yet of handling volunteers and having cleanup parties and to do the check off the box in our management plans. We don't have a process for that yet because we don't have personnel. But just walking on the trails and saying, hey, I looked at your property, that's helpful, but you need a way to report it, which Ray talked about the top page we talked about. So that's sort of where the whole thing about the app came in, was trying to, for the bigger picture. I mean, they're not gonna fix all that. They're just gonna give us some information on how you can take this information and make it interesting to younger people. But then our follow-on is being, okay, now how do we actually get, and so say they have a sign up, who wants to help volunteer? What are we gonna do with the sign? I mean, what are we gonna do with the people that say they wanna help? We don't have the structure even to accept volunteers.
What are they gonna do?
And what are they gonna do, right? So I think that, part of, so they've got one piece of the puzzle, which is how do you appeal to younger people and help them be interested and motivated to do stewardship but sooner or later, we're gonna have some form of, staff.
Yes.
You need a staff person, and until we have a staff person, what we can do with volunteers. Anyway, so they're gonna help with that somehow.
It'd be nice to hire a stewardship.
You mean Parks and Rec?
So,
What's another title?
yeah, I believe sure it's stewardship coordinator or something. Wouldn't they be?
Well, if Mark assigns that person to, if there is
We
a
don't know what
director,
the job description.
yeah,
I haven't seen the job, I've seen the title, not necessarily, but I'm just thinking
But-
that's a.
but Mark would have to
Right.
make that person's job be partly workers on. And so that's maybe if we get him in here to discuss the other thing, we can include that discussion. How does he recommend we do this? We have to have a way to do volunteers. Otherwise, none of this is gonna go. Anyway, so that's where the project's from.
So, the next step of these things, are they providing project? I mean, what's the next step from?
They gave us the plan. This is the objective from the plan.
That's the objective.
Right. They gave us the whole plan. They didn't the whole plan, I just gave that.
Oh,
Yeah, just so that people have some idea of how we narrow it down, because the topics were broad, right? This is just a report to the commission. Here's how we narrow down, here's how they narrow down those broad topics into something that they can grasp for the next. So then next week they're going on spring break. And then when they come back, they're gonna have to take the.
well, the thing with the first one is Lenny has a very specific.
Oh, yeah, well, and actually, the part of my motivation to have them agree to present their stuff at the Earth Day Fair was they would have to have something ready to present. by the Earth Day Fair.
Right.
So technically, all the projects in their plans should have being ready to at least present something by April 20th. So, and the tree people can't be there because they're all in a botany group and they've got some projects, so that whole team can't be at Earth Day. But they'll have stuff at the booth that the other students help with. So now we just, those of us that are overseeing the groups are just working with them to help, have what they need to.
And again, they're supposed to be running the show. That's what we like last week I said, guys, I think we're meeting. But they should be initiating meetings, but I was like, gotta go.
Yeah, I suggested, do you want to meet again before spring break?
So to clarify, they're gonna have their projects completed.
I wouldn't say completed, but completed enough that they can talk about it that year. So they certainly won't have the reports yet, but they should have some kind of, be able to put together some kind of information, a poster, a tripod, something.
That
With
would
the
be
update there.
fodder for the fair.
Right.
Fair.
And again, it gives them a little bit of motivation for timing to help them try to get them before April.
By the way, is everyone here gonna be able to read?
As of right now,
Which kind of get, that's what we're trying to get the what coverage, get to work on that.
Thanks.
Certainly at by our April meeting, we're all available for that. We fight it, try and jump.
Okay, so,
I don't think it'll be.
so that's, I believe, the completion of, unless anybody has any questions.
Looking forward to,
I'm curious to see what they come up with.
yeah, I know, it's always
It's always
always
interesting.
crapshoot.
Yeah, well, this crapshoot, it's also,
All right, thank you. That kind of goes through all the topics that were teed up. So I guess new business.
well, there's open space, we haven't,
We just talked about it.
so, and then the outreach, we haven't finalized the discussion of what we're doing for food.
We're gonna.
Besides, just focus on the nips, that,
Yeah, no, I think that's.
I think they have general concurrence, that sounds like a pretty good topic, that's timely.
and focus on that, so the one topic, don't try to. dilute it with
Just like
other
last year, we
things,
were
focus.
on all the watershed stuff.
Watershed,
Okay.
It's all-
yeah.
it's all-
I'll go with that.
I would say, well, we could still have the other stuff that we do. I mean, it's all in a box. We'll just pull it out. It's there for conversation. The Groton town maps, trails, and that stuff is all easily accessible, which is the new thing we'll have.
What I'll say, all right, just for, 1 of the minutes, but just so you all know, if we, if you need anything printed out, let's say that I will need it by Monday the 8th.
The updated map on the, take the board, put the new map. Because that's now great. That would be one thing.
And I'll.
Because, Bill already has this, printed multiple copies out. Groton Parks. States.
Yeah, our meeting's on April.
This is dealt on accessible and non.
And then could I just at some point come down, like take a rummage through what we had last year, fresh. And I think we had that stuff we will bring out.
Yeah, if you need to add, whatever you need to add, whatever you need to add. And part of the reason is that I'm gone the fall, and well, I'm actually not. Actually. So I want to just make sure I have it.
So basically, it's representing. They coming in with volume, or we take it to us.
We shouldn't be involved.
Well, I don't
Should
think
be
we
all
should be
QR.
printing anything, and have one page and you have a QR code on it.
Yeah.
I think we need to get away from even thinking about handing out paper stuff.
That's what I'm asking.
I completely agree. But I know last year I asked for a lot of stuff to get printed, so I just want to
We
be.
still have one. But I
we
mean,
still have a lot.
old people, still, many don't have the kind of phone
I-
that works.
I
We can't
understand that.
completely disrespect our elderly. Have a little bit.
But we might have enough left from last.
Or a tutorial.
What's that?
Or a
Why do you
tutorial.
have some-
To show them how to,
She's
let me
like,
see your
I-
phone.
But you know what? Her phone, her camera didn't, so old, the
Oh,
camera
like a
didn't,
flip phone.
once her camera didn't recognize the QR code.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Not anymore. No, all the phones are built in with now, it's built into the cameras. They go, it'll bring you right to it.
Make a QR code.
Trying to.
It used to be,
You're right.
yeah, it used to be like that.
Oh, yeah, the QR code app is worthless.
Yeah, to get it. You're right. I noticed I can't run it.
Yeah,
Pulls it up, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which is very nice, yeah.
Okay,
Done, because I'm actually.
So obviously, April, we've got to finalize our participation, assignments, material, yada, yada, yada. Well, it can be by April.
April first.
April first.
So that's still fine.
Well, then you do need to finalize before.
That's what I'm saying. I want to go, let's get it done. Let's go right now. Let's do it. I'll do it.
Any other new business? For the staff?
I think we covered everything, but let's see. Well, you know, the only thing y'all didn't discuss was the workshop, the community conversation. Your feedback on it, or your thoughts. It is online. You can actually watch the presentation online.
Oh, which workshop?
The first community conversations.
Oh,
That
great.
was at the USS.
I'll go first. I thought it was, aspects of it was informative, in terms of the information that was presented. In terms of the discussion that resulted, I mean, I know it was supposed to be interactive, but there wasn't enough time to have a discussion on anything. I mean, it really was, let me take the question, I'll answer the question. That's not a discussion. So, yeah, so for information giving, you get points. For answering some limited questions, because you get half a point. But in terms of a discussion on a topic, you get 0. That was kind of my quick comment. So I know.
I also attended, I would echo everything Larry just said. Right, it's advertised as a community discussion, and it wasn't a discussion, other than in the small groups that were, in my viewpoint, was somewhat haphazard. As far as in the direction that were given to the crowd, or what to go do with these dots and what was supposed to happen. I don't know what was the vision, but I use most people, and I suspect everybody did. They didn't really understand what was to be happening, and so it was just I meet with the people that I know and for the discussion. The food was good though.
Larry, you can share. Larry, what's your?
Oh,
There was about 60 people.
Yeah, a little bit less than that, but yeah, it was pretty decent for the first one. And our next one is coming up on March 28th, and you will be getting something as a fall. It's similar to the last one that was a lot to everyone. Assuming maybe by the end of this week.
But as far as for getting people outside, I would say that half the people I knew, it was faces, familiar faces. I would say for over half the people or more.
But that piece too was actually really important, because the half of new people was very good, and we're hoping to keep adding to that number again, with the different locations. So again, this is something very different for us. It's not meeting CR1, it's not, the same people that come in, and nothing against anyone here, but, in order for us, think about everything that Ann's put together for social justice, and really how complicated that issue is in getting everyone at the table. The fact that we got half of the people there that were really new was a good thing. We're hoping to continue to grow that number. So when it gets down to having more full bore conversations about the PAOCD, hopefully we're reaching out to different parts of the community who haven't had it.
Where is the market?
It's going to be at the Marine Magnets.
And what about?
In terms of the presentation,
Anything.
or
From
No,
people
I
who
mean,
were there?
we-
It seems like that's
it
what people
was,
were-
I think we learned a lot by going to a new location. I think that was very informative for us, just because also oh wait, we've never met before. Oh, I live right down the street, and it's oh, interesting. How'd you find out about this? So I think that purpose of it was very good. And even people come in, oh, I've never been in here. Really? You know, same thing with Marine Magnet. How many people have been to the Marine Magnet School? You. And you're okay, fine, most of you.
I have
But I'm saying like, but
Work the election.
I know. But I think that's what we're really hoping
Oh, no,
for.
That's it.
wait,
Mr.
No.
Rivers.
The Marine Mag's over on Shinnecock.
yeah, that should have cost it.
So, I think that was our initial, and we're hoping that to continue to be able to grow part of it too is, yes, there's the discussion piece. But it's also the, getting to know you, but also getting some information out there. And again, you can take any information you get and interpret it however you want. But I think we had a lot of feedback afterwards saying that the information was really compelling, and so I think as a first start, it was okay. You know what I mean? I think we're gonna grow from that, so I think it was,
First out of the gate.
yeah, exactly. So I think we're gonna continue to, learn from this and continue to improve it and refine it and stuff like that. And I think, part of it too, so I know those of you who went, like, one of the things that we did really different, and Larry, I totally get your part about the discussion piece, is we didn't, their microphones are great for some people, very intimidating for others. And when we actually explained to some people why we had the postcard, they're like, oh, because I would never go on.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong
no,
with the
it was-
postcard.
I agree.
Please, that was fine.
Yeah.
But tell me, but it was him
I
responding.
know, no, I get that, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, part of the reason for that, all right, so those that are comfortable responding to what John or Don said are gonna speak up. The others are gonna just sit back. So, part of, just allowing the opportunity for everyone to have a voice in a different way, is, and I think what Lauren is finishing up right now, so all of the questions, especially the ones that weren't answered, they're going online somehow. I don't know what she's doing with it.
You did say that we would respond to questions
Yes.
submitted.
Yes, so anyone who submitted a card, they're working on something right now on that. I don't know what that, I haven't seen that. But that's, just so everyone, feels as
they've
though.
been heard.
Exactly.
I get it.
So I think that for us,
That's
and
positive.
yeah, that I think is really positive. And I have to tell you, I'm sorry, not everyone is excited about postcards. Some people are like, no, I don't need that. And it's like, no, that we're trying to meet the community where they are and help them, for those that aren't comfortable in getting out there. It's because it is intimidating. Most people, will sit back. We had planning and zoning when we were talking about short-term rentals. Most people just sat back. And so we're hoping that as they learn more about some of these different, different topics, that they're willing to ask some of the questions that normally they would just sit back and never get a chance. I think those are some of the things that we've, and again, we're going to continue to refine and make better. But there will always be. So, no, because I mean, and that is a challenge too, because
The chips were too big.
oh yeah, I'll make a note about that. The peanut chips too big.
Too big.
All right. So, but I think that's those are those are kind of some of the topics that we can. And I think we have a follow up to further refine. So I'll bring these up. Yes, that's great.
Just give my nickel back here is that I did find your testimony that you was to HB 5218. That you said the Conservation Commission on the Groton supports the bill 5218 will strengthen and expand our protection of riparian areas in the state. Yeah, every study, including one seminal work on ecosystems that reference below.
Stanza.
Yeah, documents the high value wetland riparian areas to improve water quality, flood mitigation, wildlife mitigation, diversion, and other improvement.
Well said.
Well, that's all I have.
Thank you. And Michelle?
Move to adjourn?
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you, all, shut it down. Shut it down.